This Good Morning Northwest morning sprint is brought to you by Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning.
6:53, time to get you ready for your Thursday here in the morning sprint.
Olivia Roberts is following deadly flooding in the Northeast, and Destiny Richards is live at Shaw Middle School on the first day of classes.
But first to Mark Peterson with that back-to-school forecast.
Yeah, as those kids start to head out in our first alert weather, it is going to be a cool start. We're sitting at 50 degrees right now, making sure they got an extra layer and make sure it all comes home. Smoke forecast, good news. We're going to have some cleaner air today than we've had for a while, so that's positive. Our high today, sunny conditions, 75, 74 into Coeur d'Alene, and throughout our entire region, mid-70s expected.
We've been live all morning here at the new Shaw Middle School. It's a part of a 2018 bond that Spokane voters signed off for, and 7th and 8th graders are going to be here this morning in just a few hours. Lots of new features, including these learning and social stairs for students, learning neighborhoods, and so many more things. The Hilliard Library is here as well. We'll be covering the ribbon cutting later today and talking more about the school during GMA this morning.
Police officers and traffic cameras will be watching to make sure all those kids get to school safely. School zone cameras are now back on and ready to issue tickets. There are 5 cameras monitoring 4 schools around Spokane. They are outside Lidgerwood, Audubon, Ridgeview, and Willard elementary schools. The cameras are on before school from 8 to 8:30 and after school from 2:55 to 3:30. If those cameras or any officer catch you going over 20 miles per hour, you will be stuck with a ticket and a fine.
Kootenai Health is bracing for what could stretch resources even more. As students head back to school in Coeur d'Alene, the hospital expects to see more children come in with COVID-19. Out of the 11,000 students in the school district, 6,000 of them are in middle or high schools. However, Kootenai Health says only about 1,000 of those are vaccinated.
The nurse shortage is at crisis level. That's what the American Nurses Association says. It's calling on the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to help. This comes as hospitals across the country are scrambling to find workers, including in Spokane. The American Nurses Association represents more than 4 million nurses around the country.
Breaking news overnight, the aftermath of Hurricane Ida continues to cause destruction in the Northeast. This morning, we are just learning at least 22 people, including a 2-year-old, were killed in storm-related deaths. 5 of those people were found dead in a New Jersey apartment complex. New video shared on social media overnight shows roads and highways completely underwater. More than 7 inches of rain came down across the 5 boroughs of New York City in a 5-hour period last night. When you average out the city's area, that's equal to 35 billion gallons of water in that period. That's about 50,000 Olympic-sized pools essentially being released over the city. And at one point in New Jersey last night, 5 inches of rain fell per hour. As Hurricane Ida continues to move northeast, flash flood potential is expected in other major metro areas, including Providence and Boston.
President Joe Biden will visit Louisiana today as the state attempts to recover from Hurricane Ida. According to the White House, Biden will survey storm damage and meet with local and state officials. Millions of people have been without electricity since that storm hit, and it could take weeks for power to be restored. The president said more than 5,000 members of the National Guard have been activated on the ground.
And breaking news from the Labor Department this morning. Its latest unemployment report shows the U.S. saw the least number of new unemployment claims since March of last year. 340,000 people across the country filed new claims last week. That's a decrease of 14,000 claims from the week before. We should get another glimpse into the state of the economy when the Labor Department releases the August jobs report tomorrow morning.
The U.S. Supreme Court formally said it won't block a new law in Texas banning abortions after 6 weeks. The request from abortion providers was shut down in a 5-4 decision made on technical grounds. The law took effect this morning when the court did not vote on the emergency appeal yesterday. The most restrictive abortion law in the nation bans abortions after about 6 weeks once a fetal heartbeat can be detected and before many women even know they're pregnant.
And the Texas ruling is not enough to trigger a similar law in Idaho. The law was signed by Governor Little in April, but includes a trigger mechanism that would put it into effect 30 days after a federal appeals court upholds similar legislation in another state. Although the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals wouldn't block enforcement of the Texas law, it stopped short of ruling on its constitutionality, a ruling needed to trigger the Idaho law.
Another big community event canceled. Valley Fest won't happen because of rising COVID cases. Festival organizers made the decision after several conversations with the health district. This is the latest of many recently canceled events, including Pig Out in the Park and Hoop Fest. All right, we'll get a final check of the weather next.